Hello and welcome to NoMi Knits, a knitting podcast. I'm your host Amanda and I live in northern Michigan in the United States, and I have been knitting regularly for about a year now, and this is episode 2 of my podcast. So thank you to anybody if anybody is watching this. I'm so happy to have you. In this podcast, I'm going to be going over my fall knitting plans, and all of my fall knitting plans I have the yarn for. I'm hoping to get my plans done by December, or most of my plans done by December, but we'll see. So if you're here and if you're a knitter, which I'm assuming you are if you're watching a knitting podcast, but maybe you're not, and that's cool too. But if you do knit or crochet or sew, let me know what you're working on or what your fall knitting plans are, maybe what you're most excited for. I'd love to hear and learn about different designers or what you're excited about. So yeah, let's begin. And we'll start with what I'm wearing. So I am wearing the Olga Jacket, and this is my first cardigan. I just finished it in, I think, July, which is a funny time to finish a cardigan, but I don't know. I only just started knitting, so I don't think I can say, like, I'm not a summer knits person. I don't know yet. But what I do know is this summer, I worked on all wool projects. So this was one of them. And yeah, Olga Jacket by Petite Knit. I knit it in shocking pink. The color and the cardigan, just like a cardigan in general, was inspired by Paige from Two Pearls in a Pod. She knit a beautiful cabled cardigan with shocking pink, the color from Santa's Garn, and I was like, I need to have that. And not that I haven't done a cabled project yet, but so that's why the simple stockinette. But I love this, and yeah, Peer Gynt. I love working with it. I'm actually on my third project with Peer Gynt, but it is so hard on my hands. So hard on my hands. Like, I kind of like gave a flash in my hands in the first video I made, and so I'll do that again. Maybe you can see. It's healing well, but it just dries out my hands like no other. I get insane eczema, and it's really painful to knit with and cook with and do anything with when it gets to that point. So I'm like giving my hands a rest from Peer Gynt, and have learned that I need to wear fingerless gloves to knit with it. And that's just where we're at. But as far as wearing it, I love it. And I am wearing a shirt under this now, but I've worn this, the Olga Jacket, just next to skin. And yeah, you know you're wearing it, but I don't really mind the itchiness. Modifications, I'm sure, I don't know by how much, but I'm sure I cropped the body. I'm a short person, so I think I'll probably knit this again in a more neutral color, and like the regular Olga Jacket is actually striped, so I think I might eventually do a striped version because I do really like the fit. I like the boxiness. Maybe I'll make it a little bit longer, but I like where it hits, honestly. It's like, it's not too short with high-waisted jeans. I do shorten the sleeves on all my petite knit sweaters, and probably all sweaters in general moving forward. I'm a short person. But I think I'm learning that with petite knit patterns, I need to do 1 to 1.5 less pattern repeats, and I need to like start doing math for the decreases, because I typically just like do one less pattern repeat and then do like more decreases on the last round, so I have the same stitch count for the cuff as the stitch count in the pattern, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'll start doing math on that to like actually do the correct number of decreases as I move down the sleeve. My brain hurt for a second. Okay. And oh, one more thing. So knitting this was a pleasure. First cardigan. But I did this cardigan, the last sleeve, like the very end, almost sent me to the ER. And if you're interested in that story, I did share it in the first ever podcast I did, which is the episode right before this. And it's around like the 30-minute mark. So if you're interested in just that story, you can check it out there. But very dumb. Lesson learned. And yeah, moving on to the actual plans. So I'll share with you, I have 2 things already on the needles. One of them is a hat. I guess I'll show you the pattern. So it's from the book Lakeside Stitches. And this book I discovered from Savan Knits, who has a YouTube channel that I love watching. So shout out to Savan Knits. I'll try to post her YouTube link in the description. But I am going to be knitting the Alku Hat, which means the beginning. In this, she talks about how this pattern was the first pattern for this book. And I decided to cast this on because I think I got the book specifically for a cabled sweater, which I'll show you in a minute here. So I got the book for that pattern, and just like looking through the other pattern, like she has the patterns on Ravelry. I don't remember if you can purchase them on Ravelry, but just looking through them, I'm like, yeah, I think I want to knit enough patterns from the book to make the book worth it. So, and this is only like the second pattern book I've bought. I'm really excited. The first pattern book I bought is Moosh and Friends, and I'll show you that too in a minute. But I'm gonna be knitting this with leftovers from my first ever sweater for myself. I knit the Monday sweater with this. It is Kelborn Woolen Scout. I love this color. I didn't start knitting it with the intention of wearing the hat and the sweater together, but I think it would be cute. But yeah, so this is it's a cabled hat, and I want to knit the cabled sweater, but I thought this would be a good place to start, and I already had this leftover yarn. It's a DK weight yarn. It's so freaking soft. I actually wear the Monday sweater knit in this to bed. It's that soft. It's so soft. It pills like crazy. I shave the thing all the time, but I don't care. It's wonderful. So yeah, I'm just working on the ribbing now. It's 14 centimeters of ribbing before you start the cables. So it's a lot. Like, I thought I would have the ribbing done in a couple days, and we're going on a week now. So that tells you anything about my knitting pace. And then the next sweater, or the next project I have, and already I've casted on, is my daughter's storm sweater. So I knit her the size 1 to 2 years last year, and I knit it in Barocco Ultra Wool, DK, something like that. In the color wheat. It's a superwash wool. I would wash it. I think I would throw it in the dryer, and now it is small. But I'm wondering, like, if I just soaked it and blocked it, I'm wondering if it would stretch back out. Because this looks huge. This looks like 3 sizes bigger than the sweater she has now, but it's only the next size up. So once I'm finished with this one, I'll hold them up together for comparison. But this edition, I decided not to knit in a superwash because I've read that superwash wool doesn't, like, you lose the magical properties of wool with the superwash process, and I am no expert in this at all. So correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody's even watching this. But like, this is going to be worn, this is going to be used, this is going to be stained probably. So, but I think I would rather have her wear something that's stained than it being superwash and washable. I don't know. Especially as a kid. Like, she's going to grow out of this in a year. So what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is I'm hoping the texture will help deter you from seeing the inevitable stains. I debated knitting this just stockinette using the Storm sweater stitch count because I like that fit. I already have that pattern, and this yarn is so beautiful. It's Sandnesgarn Peer Gynt Tutti Frutti, Marzipan Tutti Frutti. It's so cute. So I thought the texture would take away from the yarn or be like a little too busy for the yarn. And then I was just like, that knitting this was so much fun the first time. Just the different textures, and you don't get bored. And then I thought, yeah, like it would help soften, like if and when it does get stained, I think not only the rainbow speckles will help mask that, but also the texture. We'll see. We'll see if I do this again. Toddlers in non-superwash. I don't know. Okay, the next thing that I'd like to get on my needles is a gift knit for my sister who's turning 30 in October, and she lives in the Southwest, and it's summer like 90% of the time where she lives, so you could probably guess where she lives. But she said she does want to try wearing wool, and so I'm gonna knit her the Strata vest, and I'll insert a picture here. And I am using Quince & Co. Finch in the color Damson 149. And this is a fingering weight yarn, and I believe you use US 3 needles. So yeah, I'd like to have this project done. I'm gonna see her in November, and I'd like to have everything done except like the final length and the final hem by the time I see her, so that I know whether I need to lengthen it or shorten it. And then maybe I could even finish it when we're together. That might be really pushing it, but we'll see. So yeah, the Strata vest. And then I will be knitting Moosh from Moosh and Friends, A Little Friend. So if you haven't met Moosh, he is from the book Moosh and Friends. And I cannot recommend this book enough. The patterns are so clear. It is so enjoyable to knit up. Knitting Moosh was how I learned how to knit on Magic Loop. So if you want to learn how to knit on Magic Loop, you know, why not? Why not make it a total joy by knitting up a little friend? And this pattern has, like 15 animals probably at least, and then each animal has about 2 outfits. So there are so many patterns, and the instructions are so clear. I had no issues with knitting him up, and I've never knit something so, like, it was on US 0 needles. So I've never used needles that small, and you can really, like, Moosh is one of the largest, I think him and the donkey are the largest characters, and I'll have to measure him, but I think he's like, I don't know, I'll put in his measurements. I would guess 9 inches tall. So what I'm trying to say is you can use scrap yarn for a lot of these animals, which is awesome. So I'm going to be knitting up Alphonse the Pig. Either Alphonse or they have a female pig, and I think it's the same pig, but just with a dress named Mira. And my 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old, loves Moosh. She always asks for Moosh. She plays with him all the time. And I mean, his face is a little askew. You can definitely tell he's worn and loved, but I knit for things to be loved. I knit for things to be loved and used. So I am very pleased with this project and cannot wait to knit the pig. And this is what I'm going to be using. So this is Santa's Garden Sunday in the color Dusty Rose. And I've never used Sunday before, so I'm really excited. Like I said, I had to stop recording for a second, so hopefully it's like the same angle and whatnot. But I think what I was saying is I'm knitting using Dusty Rose. Haven't used this yarn before. Very excited. And next project, making my daughter a balaclava. So it's going to be using this yarn I was gifted from my mom. I think it was when she went to Italy, but it's from Austria. So it's called Llama Soft. I don't know what date or weight it is. I think it's a worsted, maybe a DK. I should probably do some research and like figure out how to figure out what weight yarn is based on the grams and the meterage. I think that makes sense. But anywho, I think I'm gonna do the November balaclava by Petite Knit, but I'm not married to that pattern. So if you have any pattern recommendations, let me know. But moving on, my last plan. So this is the plan. I'm excited about all of my plans actually, but this is like a behemoth of a project, I think. So this is going to be my first ever cabled sweater, and it's going to be from the Lakeside Stitches book, and it is called Iltatuuli, which means evening breeze. So here it is. All over cables. Never done cables before. I think there are like 6 or 8 projects on Ravelry, and one of them, I hope I'm not making this up. And if I am making it up, it's giving me false confidence, which I'm kind of okay with. But one of them said that this is a good beginner cable pattern. So fingers crossed that that's true, because I have 0 experience. I will have some experience once I complete my hat from this book, but until then, 0 experience. I'll show you another picture. And I'm already thinking about the length. So first of all, I'm in between sizes, like the small, medium, but I think I'm gonna go with the small. And then the length of the body, like this is looking long, and I feel like long sweaters don't do my figure justice. Like I'm a short person and I have a smaller waist and bigger hips, so if it hits on my hips, the widest part of my body, I don't really love it. So I'm already thinking like, okay, am I gonna shorten this by 2 cable repeats, or like how is that gonna work? If you have any opinions or like tips on shortening cabled sweaters, I'd love to hear. But yeah, I'm so excited. So I have the yarn for this already, and got Knitting for Olive, heavy merino in the color limestone, which I'm super excited to try. I've never tried this yarn before. I've used Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair, held double. Oh, there's a hummingbird right outside my window. And I've used just Knitting for Olive merino, held single. So excited to try this new yarn and knit up a white cabled sweater. It feels so classic, because I think it is. So my goal is to have this knitted by my 35th birthday in February. So this will be, I think, the last thing I'll cast on out of everything I just showed you today. But if you made it this far, thank you so, so much. I'm honestly like, is anybody gonna watch this? I don't know. And I just enjoy making these videos. Like, I honestly have nobody in my life, like in IRL, to talk to knitting about. I have people that are like, you know, my friends and family are interested, but you know what I mean. Like, they don't get it. So even to just like talk to a wall about, like, talk through my process and reflect and make plans and like get my mind organized, and also look back on what I've knitted or the progress or the, you know, all the things. Talking to a wall, it's okay. That's okay too, if nobody joins. But anywho, if you're here, tell me what you're working on, what fall knitting plans you're excited about, and I'd also love to hear where you're from. Okay, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.